Hi everyone, this is Laelie bringing you another Innominatus 10-man video guide. This video will outline the strategy for the Spine of Deathwing encounter, the 7th boss in the Dragon Soul raid. Spine of Deathwing is located on Deathwing's back. You must talk to Sky Captain Swayze after killing Blackhorn in order to parachute from the Skyfire onto the back of Deathwing and start the encounter. This fight has one phase that repeats 3 times. Your raid must use the adds that spawn to expose the underside of the plates on Deathwing's back and then detach them. The goal of this fight is to rip all 3 plates off the spine. Your raid will need 1 to 2 tanks, 2 to 3 healers, and 5 to 7 DPS. We used 1 tank and 3 healers to handle the healing absorption and add mechanics. Your group will need to be quick at switching between adds and be careful of their positioning on the spine. First, I will outline the abilities that are used during this fight and then describe the strategy for defeating this encounter. Encounter abilities. There are 3 different adds that spawn during this fight. The first adds are tentacles called Corruption. These adds spawn from the holes on either side of Deathwing's spine. These adds will not attack players, but they have 2 abilities. The first ability is called Searing Plasma. This ability puts a debuff on random players that absorbs a large amount of healing. Your healers will need to focus heals on these players to remove the Searing Plasma debuff in order to heal them. The second ability is called Fiery Grip. This ability will target a random player and channel a stun on them. This ability will also do significant damage every few seconds. Fiery Grip can only be broken by doing significant damage to the Corruption. Doing about 1/3 of the Corruption's health is enough to break Fiery Grip. Whenever a Corruption dies, the hole where it was will also have grasping tendrils that come from it. These tendrils will hold a player who stands in them onto Deathwing's back, and deal a small amount of fire damage every few seconds to them. The second add is called Corrupted Blood. These adds spawn from the holes that Corruptions leave when they die. These adds should be picked up by the tank. Once killed, they put down an indestructible residue that will slowly move towards an open hole, which will spawn a new Corrupted Blood when they reach the hole. This residue can also be absorbed by Hideous Amalgamations. The last add is the Hideous Amalgamation. One of these adds spawns every time a Corruption is killed. These adds must be picked up by one of the tanks. These adds can absorb Corrupted Blood residue, which causes them to deal 10% more damage for every stack of residue. They also have 2 other important abilities. The first ability is Superheated Nucleus, which occurs when the Hideous Amalgamation is absorbed 9 Corrupted Blood residue. This ability does mild AoE raid damage every few seconds. The second ability is called Nuclear Blast. Once the Hideous Amalgamation has died, it will start a Nuclear Blast cast which lasts 5 seconds. The add will not move during this time, but will deal massive damage to anyone near it when the explosion occurs. If the add is placed near a plate when it explodes, the plate will lift up, exposing a burning tendon. Burning tendons hold the plates in place on Deathwing's back. Once the tendon is killed, the plate will be released from the spine. Once the plate is gone, the raid will move up to the next plate and continue this process. Deathwing will do a barrel roll whenever he notices every raider standing to one side of his spine. If players are not firmly attached to the spine when he does this, they will fly off and die. Grasping Tendrils and Fiery Grip are the 2 methods for staying on his back. Hideous Amalgamations will fly up during a barrel roll as well. Now that I have outlined all the abilities, I will explain the encounter strategy used in this video. Encounter strategy. Your raid will land on Deathwing's back and face 4 Corruptions. Your raid should kill 3 of these to start off the fight. Have your tanks pick up the Hideous Amalgamations and hold them for the time being. Note that when all the Corruptions are dead, a new one will spawn, so there is always 1 Corruption up at all times. Have 1 to 2 DPS assigned to breaking out anyone with Fiery Grip during the course of this encounter. When the first 3 Corruptions are dead, have your raid stack onto one of the holes on the same side of Deathwing. This will cause a barrel roll to occur. Make sure every raider has grasping tendrils on them to make sure they don't fly off Deathwing's spine. When the barrel roll happens, all of the Hideous Amalgamations will fly off the spine. Your raid will then kill off the last Corruption and use the Hideous Amalgamation that spawns to lift the plate. Have your DPS bring the Amalgamation to 20% before killing any Corrupted Bloods. When the Amalgamation has low enough health, if you are using 2 tanks, have the tank with the Corrupted Bloods move towards the Amalgamation. In either case, this is the time to kill the Bloods. Once enough Bloods are killed and absorbed by the Amalgamation, your raid must burn it down. Your tank may want to use personal cooldowns, as the amalgamation will start to hit harder as it gains more stacks of residue. Your raid will want to use a raid cooldown at this point in order to deal with the AoE damage from the superheated nucleus ability. Make sure your tank moves the amalgamation right next to the plate. When the ad starts to cast Nuclear Blast, have every raider move away from the explosion, including the tanks. Once the explosion occurs, the plate will lift up and your DPS can kill the burning tendon. Make sure your DPS know to stay in the middle of the spine during this time. The burning tendon will spawn on one side of the spine, but its hitbox is large and even the melee DPS can hit the tendon from the middle of the spine. Once the tendon is destroyed, the plate will fly off and more corruption tentacles will spawn. The process then repeats with killing corruptions, doing a barrel roll, and killing ads to pry up the plate. If your raid is using 2 tanks and has an abundance of corrupted blood, have your second tank move them to the back of the spine and either tank or kill them there. This will ensure the amalgamation doesn't absorb too many stacks of blood too early, causing unnecessary damage to the raid. If your raid doesn't manage to kill the burning tendon before the plate closes, you must kill the remaining corruption, spawn a new amalgamation, and repeat the process. The damage done to the burning tendon previously will remain, so your raid will just need to finish it off to release the plate. Heroism can be used on the second or third burning tendon depending on how your raid wishes to use their other cooldowns. Once the third plate is detached, your raid will have beaten Spine of Deathwing. Spine of Deathwing is an encounter that requires a lot of coordination on the part of your raid. If your raid can control the ads and burn down tendons quickly, you will successfully beat this encounter. I have included the entire fight to show the abilities and strategies used in this guide. Put on your Sunday dresses and have fun.